Is there no sound? Hello. Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
आपको आवाज आ रही है क्लियर ना?
Yes.
ठीक है.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Sir, yes, you are audible.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Hi, Professor Sanjay. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very happy to be with you.
Yes. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Professor Yusuf.
Hi,
How are
Professor.
you?
Fine, thank you. And
Just
you?
1 minute. My lights are.
I think
We would have liked Florent and I to be with you in Delhi, but
Very happy to see you once again.
unfortunately-
We are missing Florent today.
Okay,
He told me he had some medical emergency in the family.
okay.
So
maybe you can plan your visit sometimes in January, February. I think once things ease up.
yes,
Yeah, we will try, yes.
anytime.
Mhm.
I think Chief Guest Sir has also joined. Mr. Shah.
Okay.
Yes,
Mhm.
Mr. Shah has joined.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Shah, sir.
Good afternoon, Sanjay ji. So
Hi,
nice to
sir.
connect with all of you today.
It's a pleasure having you with us. We have been trying to have you for a couple of years.
No, my pleasure to be connected.
I think we met once at the aviation finance meeting.
Correct, correct.
That's right. Yeah. So how is the Gift City shaping up?
It's coming up very well. I think it would be a lot of interest to your student also, the way the whole financial services center is coming up.
Mhm.
Because I saw in your program, it's more finance oriented, and the Gift City really provides a perfect connect for you.
No, we have a program which is dedicated only to finance. And we're also planning to set up an incubator on financial technology and PropTech.
That is brilliant.
So I had two small queries. One is it possible for students, not now, maybe post-COVID, to visit the Gift City?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was a second thing, which in fact, last time I asked, because if you're setting up a world-class city for financial services, do you also have a plot for some school for finance over there? No, you plan to set up a school of finance over there or no?
Yeah, absolutely. In the International Financial Center, we are trying to tie up with the international financial services institutions to come in.
Mhm.
And we very strongly believe that, our domestic institutions can take a lead and join hands with some of the reputed international players and set up this institution here.
No, because at Delhi University, we have the School of Finance.
Right.
It's one of the best in the country, and we also have very strong international partners. So I was looking at the possibility that could DU, along with its strong international partners, set up international programs there on finance and analytics there.
Absolutely. I think this is what is the area which we are working on right now.
Hmm.
And I think after this program, let us connect
Yes.
and see that as to how we can, have your expertise to be brought in the financial center.
Hmm. So what I'll do is I'll fix up with you separately.
Absolutely.
Professor Yusuf?
Yes, he's come back.
Yes. Yes, Professor Yusuf, Mr. Shah is, we have a gift city, international financial services city in Gujarat, which is providing world-class international services in finance. And Mr. Shah is in charge of those activities over there.
Okay. Happy
And,
to meet you, Professor Mr. Shai.
Professor Yusuf is director of one of our partner institutions in France. It's called ESC Po, and they are a leading school in business and also in finance. In fact, they have partnership with us in their international finance program.
Okay. Nice meeting you, Dr. Yusuf.
Thank you very much.
So every year we have exchange of students. The French students come to us and our students visit them. Of course, since last year, it has been online because of the COVID issues.
Correct. But how is the situation now in France, Dr. Yusuf?
Good today. We can work as usual with the distanciation rules, etc. But it's very different against the last year. Last year we work only online. It was very hard. Today we are more confident in the evolution of things.
Same is the case in Delhi right now. Delhi and I think most of India and particularly Delhi, the conditions are absolutely under control. We have 1 billion vaccination mark.
1 billion.
2 days back. It's a huge country, so if it's a big country, the opportunities are big, but so are the challenges.
Sure.
Can we start the session? I think it's up to the student team. Can we start it?
Good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will begin with the plenary session. I would like to begin the session by extending a very warm welcome to our chief guest.
I think
for the
the
event.
voice is low.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Just check the mic, please. Aishwarya, just check with Pooja. I think there is some.
Am
The
I
voice
audible?
is low.
Yes.
Increase the volume.
Either increase the volume of your laptop or increase your own volume.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, now you're audible.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, I would like to begin with the plenary session with the chief guest of the event, Mr. Dipesh Shah. Mr. Dipesh Shah has 21 years of professional experience in international business, project development, corporate affairs, corporate law, and policy matters. His achievement includes setting up and operationalizing India's first smart city and International Financial Services Center IFSC. He now heads the development and international relations at IFSCA, also responsible for overall business development. Mr. Shah is a Bachelor of Commerce and Chartered Secretary from Institute of Company Secretaries of India, ICSI, and Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, UK, and has postgraduate diploma in business management from Nirma University, specialized in international business and finance. He is currently pursuing his doctoral program, PhD, in IFSC. Thank you, sir, for taking time out of your busy schedule. Please accept the tree we have planted in your name as a token of our gratitude.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to be part of this convention today.
Thank you, sir. We welcome you, sir. We hand over the stage to you.
Thank you. Let me at the outset thank Sri Sanjay Sehgal and Delhi University for having me today at this plenary session that you have. And I think this is your 34th convention, as I read today morning. And I am sure all the students which are joining this online would have loved to be physically receiving that final programs and certificates from the university. But nevertheless, I think this is a new normal as we see, and that is how we have seen the world in last 2 years. But it's also remarkable to see how the world has overcome, and in particularly India, in particular, with 1 billion vaccine being completed yesterday. I think we see ourselves in a very strong position as a country, and growing strength to strength with what we have seen in the other parts of the world. Let me deliberate today on a very important topic as we see, and also very relevant for the students of Delhi University. That's on an opportunity in international financial services. I think we all know at various point of time during the different period, various countries globally, they set up their international financial services centers to cater not only their hinterland demand, but also to cater to the growing international financial services demand from other parts of the world. And we could probably bring them in two buckets, one which remain as a regional financial centers in order to cater to the regional and the national opportunities, and few other became really international financial centers. So if you really ask me, as a professional, I see when London, US, Singapore, Hong Kong as an international financial center, which not only serves their region, but serves globally. And if you really ask some of the regional centers, they are primarily serving the regional and the national economy, which may not be well connected with the global audience or the global demand. What we have seen that in India, this opportunity was presented quite long, but this was not being taken up at various stages. And what we saw in the year 2015, that the government of India really took up a very important initiative called setting up an international financial services center in India. And what does it mean? It means that within India, you are carving out a zone which for all practical purpose is similar to a foreign zone. And thereby the rules and regulations of governing that zone is similar to how you operate in other parts of the world. So let me just explain what was happening before April 2015 and what is happening after April 2015. So before April 2015, a lot of Indian institutions would generate huge demand for international financial services. Now, in order to serve them effectively, what would happen is our own Indian institutions, say for example, ICICI Bank or HDFC or other as State Bank of India, they would have set up their own branches in the overseas location. For example, Dubai International Finance Center or Singapore or other parts of the world. And what they would do effectively is they would serve the India demand more efficiently from the locations outside India, and which was an absolute anomaly for a country of size of India, as to why the international financial services that the country needs were being served from the different parts of the world more efficiently outside India than within India. And probably this was the question which emerged in the mind of the policymakers, and wasn't one of the important issue which the country was trying to address. And what we found during that time, an initiative to set up within India a center which from the local administrative and law purpose, from a foreign exchange management law purpose, it becomes an offshore zone. So post April 2015, if an Indian institution has a demand for $1 billion of external commercial borrowing, they can very well avail those financial services from the banks which are situated in the international financial center right in India. So we became more participative in terms of the actual committing the business to India, rather than availing those financial services from other parts of the world. And I believe this is a turning point for a lot of sectors, and in particular for the students from financial services sector. Why I'm saying this? As we did a demand assessment, what we found was that India was contributing close to 5% to the financial services during 2007-10, and it was slated to reach 2000 by 2020 around 15% to the GDP in financial services. And when we saw that the opportunity, the number of jobs which were around 3 million were slated to go to 11 million in terms of financial services alone. That means you are going to have a net addition of 7 million jobs in the financial services sector alone. And this really represents a unique opportunity where our own talent, which otherwise has a lot of opportunities to serve global markets and global institutions, will now finding the opportunities right within their own country, within their own center, which is very near to where they operate from, and thereby creating an absolute new skill set for them to participate. So what does an IFFC does? An IFFC brings various segments: banking, insurance, capital market, and pension, alternate investment funds, and related financial services in the zone. So for students of financial services background, it becomes an absolute advantage of having studied the Indian law, having studied the international financial services. They are able to find the new opportunities emerging within their own zone, and they are able to participate and work with larger foreign institutions. What has happened is post 2015, we have now close to 250 financial services players licensed by the International Financial Services Center Authority. And this is a unique position of having our own captive 250 institutions, which is growing every day in terms of number of institutions coming in. What government did very effectively was that in the April 2015, they started the International Financial Services Center through the domestic regulators, which was the Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, IRDA, and PFRDA, which gave an operating carve-outs from the domestic law to operationalize the International Financial Services Center. However, in the December 2019, and this is a very important year for the International Financial Services Center, that a government passed a separate International Financial Services Center Authority Act and brought in a unified regulator. Now, we were used to seeing the unified regulator in Dubai, in Singapore, in other parts of the world, but India never operated in a unified format. And suddenly in December 2019, the government matched the international best practices, brought in now a unified regulator which combines the power of RBI, SEBI, IRDA, and PFRDA under one unified authority act. And that has now a mandate to regulate financial institutions, financial services, and financial products in the international financial services zone, which means that when international and Indian institutions come forward and participate, you find that a unified authority is able to provide them, one, the regulatory regime, which is in line with the international best practices, and two, it is able to provide a talent which is available from within the region, within the country, and also able to bring in a lot of foreign talent to come and participate in the international zone. So when we started this International Financial Services Center, we initially got the Indian institutions because those are the ones which normally come forward first. And suddenly we've seen a huge jump in number of foreign institutions to come in. So for example, now we have institutions like JP Morgan, Deutsche, Barclays, HSBC, Standard Chartered. They all are part of the ecosystem. And they really look forward to a talent which can help them, one, to participate in the international financial services opportunities, which means banking, for example, securities, alternate investment funds, even new line of businesses like aircraft leasing and financing, bullion exchange. So these are quite a number of opportunities which are emerging, and the students from a financial services background, I believe they have a great role to play. And it's a very appropriate time that this batch is coming out in the financial world, where you have in your next door a financial center which is requiring a huge number of people to come in terms of talent, and at the same time giving them the same international exposure to participate in some of the transactions which are otherwise would have been not available in the domestic India zone. So for example, we work on the area like fintech. And this fintech which we are developing is a unique position, meaning that you have a unified regulator allowing a fintech to experiment in all the 4 segments like banking, insurance, capital market, pension under one unified umbrella. And what is a better way of participating in the fintech where you have the regulator itself having its sandbox and promoting these financial players to come in. I'll urge a lot of you who would, when are going out in the market, going to create your own startups, going to create your own financial fintechs, to look at closer to what opportunities the International Financial Services Center offers to you. And I'm sure when you do a deep dive into these opportunities, you will find suddenly that there are many segments that you as a student or you as a professional would be able to participate in a much larger scale. We're also connecting this financial center with the other, which means a fintech approved in an International Financial Services Center authority would also get a dual recognition in other markets where the authority has tied up, whether it is Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, other markets outside India. I would also urge that this is the right opportunity for you to consider having a very specialized understanding of what an International Financial Services Center offers to you in terms of both employment and as an entrepreneur. What are the opportunities for you to look at? At the same time, I think today we've seen the way the Indian market and the Indian fintech is growing. I'm sure the India as a whole provides you a tremendous opportunity to build the new unicorns of the world, which are being set up in India. And I'm sure with the experience that you've gained over a period of time in your university is going to be put to use to the maximum with these opportunities emerging into India. I think a day is not far where you will see a lot of foreign students and institutions want to be part of India, as we had seen a decade of Indian students wanting to go and work in the foreign market. I think if you really see from now to next 10 years, you will see sudden inflow of people who wants to come to India to work, to come to India to participate, and at the same time find a new fintechs, new unicorns to be developed in this part of the world rather than any other part of the world. This is our firm belief that with the opportunities presented, you as a student as of the Delhi University, University of Delhi is going to be one of the best position to avail this opportunity. I once again thank the organizers for having me today in this particular session, which is a very interesting topic. And I'm sure with the other learned faculty along with me today, I'll be able to learn from all of you. And we welcome all of you to visit India's International Financial Services Center as an authority. We would be happy to host you at GIFT City when you would like to come and see and explore the opportunities that the International Financial Center in India provides. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now we would like to ask our chief guest to please award the Academic Excellence Award. This award is given to the best performing student. It goes to Mr. Sayantan Ghosh in recognition for the best performance in the batch of 2019-2022. We would like to invite Mr. Sayantan Ghosh if he would like to say something on this occasion, or maybe give some advice to the present batch. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pooja. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
So good afternoon, everyone. So firstly, I would like to thank the organizers. This has been an amazing event. And next, as I complete 6 months in the corporate world as an hedge fund analyst, what I'd like to say when I look back at these 2 years at DFS is that basically, when you are here, I would ask you to utilize your time fully, because these are the 2 years which you have a lot to learn. You can learn a lot of things here, and though some people may see COVID as a setback, what we got is COVID came to us as a blessing in disguise. Because in other instances, what we have done, you have to mainly carried out the models evaluation in pen and paper mode, but we got to try out a lot using softwares, Thanks to Varun sir, we got to do valuations in Excel. And also thanks to Pankaj sir, we got a lot of exposure on R. So these are the technologies that the industry also requires. Like in the last 2 quarters with RCSM, I've seen there's a lot of use in Excel, Python. So some of these you can like take this up in your free time. Since it's online, you can save a lot of time because you don't need to like travel every day from your college or the hostel where you were staying. From the home, comfortable home, you can learn a lot in this additional time. And like Mr. Dipesh said, truly, like it is like extremely exciting to know the growth of financial services and IFSC, how we're standing up to be a great hub of development, and surely it will provide like a great place for many of the finance enthusiasts in India as well. So that's all from my side.
Congratulations for the excellent work that you did last 2 years.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I would like to invite Shriyari Chintamani, President of our student body AFCON, to tell us more about AFCON and its activities.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Dipesh Shah, Executive Director, Development, International Financial Services Centers Authority, and our guest of honor, Yusuf Irami, our beloved Head of Department, Dr. Sanjay Sehgal, distinguished participants, and my dear brothers and sisters. It is my pleasure to represent our students' body, Association of Finance and Control, on the occasion of celebrating our 34th year of organizing this August Symposium on Finance. For the last 20 months, we have had tough times in our personal and professional lives, and this crisis has affected every one of us directly or indirectly. But I am proud to say that the spirit of our faculty, students, and administration remained unwavering instead of getting diluted by the harsh atmosphere induced by this pandemic. I want to thank my teachers from the bottom of my heart for holding our students' hands firmly, even in the face of disruption. Every education institute offers its students the opportunity to learn what is in the syllabus and offers a conducive environment to interact among the students themselves and with the industry, so that they can get practical exposure and acquire necessary soft skills to succeed in their personal life and professional lives. It would be impossible without the proactive students of our institute. And I would like to thank our placement committee for the tremendous efforts they put in for bringing professionals from various parts of the industry to provide us the practical exposure. I would like to thank our alumni committee for their endeavors to make sure we are connected with our alumni and for setting up an entire website for alumni interaction. I want to thank convention committee for organizing business school competitions, and obviously for organizing this remarkable symposium. And I want to thank my public relations team for communicating all our hard work and efforts to the rest of the world. I would like to thank our international relations and entrepreneurship committee for their efforts to inculcate the spirit of entrepreneurship among the students. I know we are all eagerly waiting for our guests to impart some more wisdom on us. And with this, I would like to conclude this speech. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shriyari. Now, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Yusuf Irami, Director Dean at ESC Pau Business School. Dr. Yusuf is a graduate of AES, DESS in Economics and Management of Agri-Food Systems, and DEA in International Economics. He has done his doctorate on Performance Management Methods and Business Environment at University of Pau and Pays de la Dour. He is a person with a strong conviction that knowledge grows by being shared. He has been associated with the education industry for more than a decade. He began his teaching career in Morocco as an assistant professor of management at National Institute of Health Administration. It was in 2014 he joined ESC Pau as a professor of managerial innovation until 2018, and then acting as a director dean at ESC. Dr. Yusuf Irami is an author of numerous publications and conference organizations as part of research activity on the dissemination of innovations and performance management in public and private organizations. Thank you, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule. Please accept the tree we have planted in your name as a token of our gratitude. Sir, we are delighted to welcome you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to participate in the 34th annual convention of the Finance MBA program of the Department of Finance and Business Economics, Delhi University. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Sanjay Sehgal and Professor Munish Kumar for their invitation, as well as the students of the program. We would have liked Florent Destin and I to be with you in Delhi, but unfortunately, the isolation rules make the trip difficult. So maybe next time. I would like to talk to you about business education and the role of international partnership. As you know, the rise of management as a profession, activity, and discipline is one of the key developments of the last century. Indeed, the word managerial is often used as a key term to qualify our time, our world, and our society. However, management is the broad sense, and the research and education in management and business in particular have been the subject of much criticism. These include the dubious foundation of its expertise and knowledge base and its inability to add value and solve real-life problems, its emphasis on procedural means to reduce goal at the expense of broader substantive goals, its alleged allegiance to narrow section interests at the expense of broader concern for the public good, and ultimately, the fact that it often exacerbates rather than improves societal challenge, such as inequalities, social cohesion, sustainability, and climate change. It's a lot. More often than not, management is present as a regressive force rather than a force for good. Similar arguments, of course, apply to management and business schools. The main criticism here is that often, after a promising start, business schools, as well as the management community at large, have gone astray, forgetting their higher purpose and being captured as mercenaries for special interests. These criticisms are reductive, however, and do not take into account the richness of the management world and the growing attention paid to more progressive objectives. To this end, the managerial community has certainly become much more reflective on the limits of its current practices and activities, and have worked on the development of a whole range of manifestos, programs, or alternative visions which should help restore it to its evolutionary function and civilizer. Networking initiative, as well as more generally, the multiplication of calls, events, and initiatives on this theme testify to the general desire to reorient management, research, and teaching and education institution. They highlight the arguments in favor of more responsible management that can be implemented. In this sense, we see that the measure evolves the new issues that businesses, research, and education have not ceased to rise for a decade have suddenly become reality by the current pandemic. Indeed, between March 20 and today, all these contingent ruptures have crystallized in one and the same visible, lived, virulent crisis, undermining all those certainties on this issue, this consideration, these ruptures. The pandemic does not create a new situation, it exacerbates the needs of organizations to adapt radically without concessions. In this context, we have an important role to play in understanding how the arguments for more responsible management can be put into practice. This will include, among other things, exploring the effectiveness of different initiatives, the obstacles they face and how they may be overcome, as well as the nature of alternative strategies we might consider. The challenges are too complex, and success is only possible if we work together as a global community of educators, researchers, and practitioners. At the heart of this is the need to collaborate across border, language, industries, and disciplines. The challenge and opportunity of our disruptive world are only become more complex due to the acceleration of new technologies, the necessary ecological transition, an increasing turbulent geopolitical landscape, and many other things, many other subjects. The role of international partnership seem crucial for business school, management school, and university, and the way they educate, research, and impact a disruptive future. In this sense, the opportunity offered to students to go and see the world and to open up to it, to see other visions, other perspectives, other aspects constitute wealth necessary for the invention of new solutions for common good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for this enlightening address. Now, I would like to request Professor Sanjay Sehgal, HOD of Department of Finance and Business Economics, to address the gathering with his kind words.
Thank you very much. And let me start at the onset by thanking our honorable chief guest and our honorable guest of honor, because it's very difficult to, despite a very passionate area, to find time on Saturday afternoon, and for very patient audience. See, why we have been so much obsessed with the future of fintech. It is this, the department has been working on the fintech theme and the technology theme for almost 4 to 5 years now. So the themes have been either future of fintech or digital transformation of financial services, because we have to understand what is the need and what is the ecosystem. See, till about 10 to 15 years back, when China started emerging as a big economic power, and I'm not looking at it critically about the ethical parts of China, but China emerged definitely as a serious contender in the world economic race to US and the West. Critical issue was that despite a very strong and expanding economy, the financial system of China was put under criticism, and which means their stock and commodity markets were not very stable. They tended to become volatile with small triggers. And even the financial services base, which was mainly concentrated in Shanghai and Hong Kong, and particularly the international part in Hong Kong, started getting jitters because of the China's two nation policy, or the two state policy, because Hong Kong has been in the eye of the storm. So what happened was, basically, countries which become economically strong need a very strong financial services backbone to accelerate growth to the next level. And that is where what happened. China actually devoted very little time, did it in the last decade, started working on their financial system actually. And that's why, despite having a huge economy, the triggers which you find on the commodity exchanges or the stock exchanges, it used to start from New York or maybe Europe in, say, London, and then move on to Shanghai and other places. So it was the exchanges, to put it in summary, the Chinese exchanges were not dominant. They continued to be satellite. And therein lies a lesson for India, because India is aspiring to be a so-called $5 trillion economy and say a $10 trillion economy in 2035. It's almost 10 to 12 years away. So you would need a very strong financial system. If I claim I am a large economy, say maybe the top 3 in the world in the next decade, in real terms, it's also important how strong is my financial services arm or my financial services system. And the key or the trigger to this would be the fintech innovation. In fact, 3-4 years back, when you look at the data for the unicorns, and they generally give every year the top 300 list, it was interesting for you to see that almost half of them were coming from China, and 1/3 of the total list was fintech. So what happens is, when you start with fintech looks a very glamorous topic, but it is basically an amalgamation of several areas. End of the day, we think that the backbone of fintech is tech. The backbone of fintech is the financial services. It is the technology you are going to apply to the financial services for these institutions, either to achieve higher efficiency through revenue enhancement or cost cutting or cost reductions. Otherwise, there's no role for fintech or better services. And so that extent, the applications of the technology into banking, insurance, wealth, regulatory architecture, cryptocurrencies, commodities trading, securities trading, and so on. The list will go on. And this is all fintech. Can, as a business school like what we are, can we cater to all this? Maybe through setting up an incubation platform. Now, where the fintech innovation in India has really lacked, that's my personal view, is that I can't find a single stop shop which is providing the end-to-end services. And the end-to-end services is the point, the starting point is where somebody is sitting, say, young, bright chap like you, who is in a college or your alumni, or maybe some years into the industry, and wishes to think that could you go back and maybe create an idea and then create a company? How much mental do you have to be an entrepreneur? Because everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. And therefore, it's very important for you to come and test the waters. So the starting point of the entire fintech ecosystem has to be that e-learning chain where the young scholars or young so-called innovators come back and learn about two things. They should learn about what entrepreneurship is all about, what innovation is all about, what ideation is all about. At the same time, they should also see what are the big sunrise areas in the next 5 to 10 years, what are the challenges in those areas, and which are the areas most suitable to their type of innovation. Fintech is one such area. It could be healthcare, it could be agribusiness, it could be green energy, so on. It can go on, it could be media applications. So you be very clear with your academic background and with your excitement about financial services you want to come. Do you want to be an entrepreneur in the first place? And are you sure you want to be in the fintech space? Once you're clear, then obviously we need to create a facilitating environment for you, which is some sort of an incubator where you join a cohort and we help you taking forward your ideation. And the moment to take forward your idea and scale it to some level, the difficult part is translation. Translation is how do I convert your invention or your idea into a commercial use? And there are specialized agencies who are helping us do that. The issue is it's the egg and the hen story. Should the financial services companies come and share their innovation challenges with us for which we should create solutions? Or what we do is that should we start our innovations and take our services to the financial services? I think it's the first way around which is better because we need to identify the problems first before we start providing the solutions. And therefore, it's very important for such incubators to organize regular boot camps, inviting the chief technical officers and the chief finance officers to come down and share their challenges. What is ailing their industry? And there should be an audience. The limitation of the management schools like us, and I'm being very fair, it includes Professor Yusuf also, is that we are very strong management and finance schools, but it's a marriage between management and technology. And therefore, the best bet is where such incubators are supported by a strong management school coupled with a strong technology school. Like what we're trying to do, sharing with the audience that we are trying to tie up with one of the IITs. So once we have a collaborative audience, then it can provide the solutions which are far more cost effective. Another critical element is mentoring. And so you need world-class startup CEOs as well as financial services chief technical officers who understand the problems and are willing to do the hand-holding. Next is networking, because the incubators need to tie up with similar incubators in the rest of the world so that there is no duplication of ideas and there is an exchange of ideas, knowledge, as well as resources. So that's very important. Incubators must speak to incubators. Finally, the incubators must take the next level for acceleration possibilities. That is, those who already have some developed ideas, if they want to come back, how do they accelerate? Or how do the companies look for a reverse acceleration? And the acceleration is not only taking your product to the next level, but also identification of new markets, including international opportunities, where the international incubation networks can help. Then there are the funding arrangements. That is, we need to get the funders at each level, pre-series A and advanced series level funding, who should continuously monitor the ideas and maybe share their perception, and then finally take the responsibility for funding and taking them to a critical level before they go to the listing stage. This is the end-to-end solution. What I see is piecemeal. On the innovation side also, I think Mridul was there with you on PropTech side. The biggest problem with fintech or PropTech is twofold. That's what I see. The first problem is that most of the end users, in order for them to use the innovation tools by fintech, need to share data. And data, you are very, very possessive. You don't want to share. What to do? So we need to make these fintech tools so simple and adaptive that the people who are actually going to use it and don't want to share the data should have a system, simple system where they just put in their own data and achieve their outcomes. This is particularly a very serious problem in the property market, real estate markets, where the developers don't want to share data, but they want. So that's why they're skeptical about these technological tools, because they feel that data will come out. Second part is we are looking like at 6 blind men looking at an elephant. So say there is a problem in construction management. We identify one small problem, and then we start making an app or a software for this. So when somebody has, if I am a developer and I need 6 problems and 6 solutions, there is a lot of cost to buying 6 apps. What I'm trying to say is that the fintech solutions have to become more comprehensive, what we call as full stack of services. If I actually step into your shoes and conceive your problem end to end and provide a more comprehensive solution, which is cost effective and which maintains data privacy, I think fintech and proptech will explode. I think opportunities are immense, and India, of course, along with other developed countries, France and all, can really take this opportunity, because China already has a lead. So I have no aversion to China being a world leader, but why in areas where we have strong skills, as Mr. Shah was mentioning, why should we lag behind? I think if we plan our ecosystem properly, particularly with regards to fintech innovation, and as Mr. Shah is assuring in the International Financial Services Center, in the next 5 years, India should become a big hub for fintech innovation, along with its international partners. I'm not looking for a growth of a single country. And to that extent, maybe at the department level post this meeting, I'll set up a separate meeting and we should speak to Sir about possibilities where we can take innovation and also education related to innovation to the next level in the international space. So broadly, this is the framework. This is also the team at the department, and we are continuously in touch with the institutions. And maybe what we are talking about this year is the future of fintech. And maybe next year, if we are lucky, or a couple of years from now, we should be discussing on one such symposium by the department, our own fintech center, and the possibilities there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this enlightening address.
You're going to wind up this plenary session now. You have to do the closing remarks.
Aishwarya, you may do the closing remarks, please.
For our honorable chief guest and guest of honor, we have one more technical session after this, which is very interesting. It is on cryptocurrencies. And I feel cryptocurrencies will play a very important role in the world economy in the next decade. So I think it will be quite enlightening. And are we putting these recordings on the YouTube channel?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we'll be sharing you should share the link with everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I'd like to wind up this plenary session. I want to thank all our chief guests and our guest of honor and Sanjay Sehgal sir to be part of this and who gave a speech, and we are all enlightened by all of you. Thank you.
Mr. Shah, sir.
Yeah.
So can I communicate with you separately on one of the
Absolutely.
days?
Absolutely. I look forward to that.
Okay, I'll set up a meeting and talk to you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Yusuf, sir.
Thank you very much.
And we hopefully things get eased out, and we look forward to your visit maybe early next year.
Will be our honor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Munish Kumar, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think you have a break.
Yes, sir. Now we are going to have a 5-minute break.
Sir, we have we have the social media presentation now.
Okay, you can do that.
Social partner presentation now.
Yes. Great.
Bye-bye.
All you have to take a test will lead to what for you भाई अभी तो बाकी ये तो
We have a 5 minutes break, everyone. Please join back in 5 minutes.
Now, I would like to introduce our social partner of the day, Deepalaya. Deepalaya started in 1979 with 7 founding members with the objective of educating the underprivileged girl children. Over the years, their focus has expanded from providing education to only children to helping underprivileged women, youth, and children becoming self-reliant through education and vocational training. I would like to invite Ms. Jaswant Kaur, Executive Director of Deepalaya, with around 17 years of rich experience in ensuring legal compliance, financial management. Ms. Jaswant Kaur is currently looking after fundraising, resource mobilization, and supervising the implementation of different programs spread across Delhi, UP, and Haryana. We hand over the stage to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the nice introduction. I'll share a presentation with all of you. So thank you everyone for joining us and giving me an opportunity to let you know more about Deepalaya. So is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So as Aishwarya told that Deepalaya was founded on 16th of July 1979. So I would just give you a brief information like how was it founded and who founded it and how it came into being. So basically it was founded on 16th of July 1979 with 7 people who had actually migrated to Delhi from a state called Kerala, and you all know that Kerala is having the highest literacy rate in India. So that was the state from which these 7 people they had migrated from, and they all were well settled in their lives, and they were thankful to God that they are right now earning very well. They have good source of income. So it is when they saw people around them, children around them begging on the streets, they were all worried, and they all were really moved by their plight and and that's why they thought education is one thing which can bring a huge change in their lives. And with this thought in mind, these people, these 7 people, they came together, and then they contributed rupees 2,500 each at that time. Our journey, it began with 5 children and 1 teacher. And in fact, this teacher was one of the founding members at that time, who said that I'll take classes. So the beginning was like in one of the founder members' drawing room. So during the day, this drawing room used to be converted into a classroom, and in the evening it used to be again a drawing room. So that one to begin the organization. In fact, many of the children at that time, at the very beginning, were very known to the founders. Some of them were their children only. But then gradually, gradually they developed a model. They thought that, what all we will do is we'll take a mix of children. So in the sense of equal mix of children, we will take one child whose parents is willing to pay fee, and one who is unable to pay fee for education. So that's how it was thought. So from the fees of the person who has a capacity to pay, the education of a poor child will be taken care of. That was the model that the founders had thought of at that time. But what happened gradually was, as the number of children grew, but people, they started expressing their reservations. They said that we will not be interested in educating our children with the children from the slums. And that's the point when the founders had to change the entire strategy. So they had to make a choice that they will only educate the children from poorer backgrounds, from socially and economically backward backgrounds. So that was the decision taken, and then it was decided that Deepalaya as such will work only for the poor. So as far as our constitution is concerned, we are a society. We are registered under Society Registration Act 1860. We are an ISO 9001-2015 certified organization, which means that we follow all kind of procedures, all kind of systems that an organization has to follow for, be it implementation of programs, be it maintaining accounts, or be it any kind of compliances. We are also accredited with Credibility Alliance. This is a voluntary organization. Since if just to give a brief background, when we look at companies, when we look at for-profit organizations, the law itself prescribes a lot of regulations and compliances to be done. But when we think of voluntary sector, the legal compliances are restricted to foreign money and Income Tax Act. As far as the internal structuring of the organization and functioning of the organization, nothing is written in black and white. So that's why this Credibility Alliance, this organization came into being to let people know that these organizations who are registered with us, they have complied with all the kind of due diligence requirements, and they are very much complying with the law. They are complying with even certain things like conflict of interest. The board of members, they are not taking any kind of money or remuneration. So we are accredited with Credibility Alliance. We are also GuideStar India certified organization, which means that globally, this certification is valid globally, and which says that in this NGO complies with all kind of legal provisions, and they are very much transparent and very much accountable. And we are also a member of Voluntary Action Network of India, is another organization which is basically helping NGOs in complying with legal provisions, etc. And we are also registered with Ministry of Corporate Affairs for implementation of CSR programs. So this is basic overview of the organization. Now I'll touch upon the presence. We work in 9 Indian states, and we have been working in more than 500 villages. Our presence is in more than 12 cities of Punjab, New Delhi, Haryana, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, and Kerala. So while in the southern states, Dipalia's presence, is because of the digital programs that we are implementing. The entire northern region, we are having ground presence, and we are implementing projects on the ground. This is our vision. Our vision says that we want to have a society which is based on legitimate rights, equity, justice, honesty, social sensitivity, and a culture of service in which all are self-reliant. So this is the vision that Dipalia works with. The main motive is to make people independent. They should not be dependent on anyone. They should have a consistent source of income. At the same time, they should enjoy equal rights as any of us are entitled to. This is our mission to achieve our vision. This is what we have decided. We will only work with economically and socially deprived, the physically and mentally challenged, starting with children. So our interventions start with children, so that they become educated, skilled, and aware, and to make them self-reliant, and so that they can enjoy a healthy, dignified, and sustainable quality of life. And to achieve these purposes, we act as a resource, and we also collaborate with other agencies, be it governmental, non-governmental, or any other organization, as well as suitably intervene in policy formulation. So this is our mission. So Dipalia works essentially in 6 different sectors, and these are these sectors. One is education, healthcare, vocational training, women empowerment, institutional care, and differently abled. We are working as on the indicators that have been listed by United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah. So I'll just briefly touch upon these sectors, because time allotted to me is only 15 minutes. So this is a picture from one of our schools that is located in the most aspirational district of this country. and that district name is District Nu. It is only 35 or 45 kilometers away from Delhi actually, and this is the kind of situation that exists in that region. So you can very well see the children, the girls, especially the girls, they are coming up dressed with a dupatta on their heads. They are not allowed to remove that dupatta. That's the kind of culture they are having. So Dipalaya is having one school in this region. This region is called Mewat, Nu, and it falls in Tawadu block of this district in Haryana. Apart from that, Dipalaya also has a school in Kalkaji extension in Delhi, and the school is affiliated to CBSE. Both the schools are senior secondary schools. We are having 1,300 children in our Haryana school, while we are having 1,800 children in our Delhi school. The Haryana school is affiliated to Haryana School Education Board, and Delhi school is affiliated to the CBSE board. Apart from that, we also deal with lot of children who are out of school. So I'm sure you might have also read about different reports that have been published recently, that a lot of children will be dropping out of school because of the pandemic, because they didn't have access to digital devices, and many girls, they have been forced to get married. So these kind of reports you all might have heard because of the pandemic. So our projects cater to these children as well. We identify these children. Our team, they do extensive visits, door-to-door visits in the field, identify them and enroll them in our programs. And once they are enrolled, we do a learning assessment of these children, and we keep a track of their progress. And after some time, a year or so, when we find that these children, they have acquired basic learning levels, they are mainstreamed to government schools. And once they attend government schools, they come back to us for remedial education. Apart from that, Dipalaya is also supporting children who have lost their parents during the pandemic. So this is about the education sector. This is healthcare. This picture is also from one of our projects where a woman, a very old lady, she has come up for getting her eyes checked. So we had noticed that a lot of elderly people, they are being ignored by people who are from economically and socially backward families, simply because they don't have the resources to take care of their elderly. And to a point when these elderly people, they were contributing to the family by way of earnings, they were very much okay and fine with supporting them. But beyond that, neither they have resources nor they are interested to support these elderly people. So our projects, through our projects, we help the elderly in getting basic health facilities, eye care, getting free cataract surgeries, and and spectacles, etc. So this is one of the projects that Dipalaya is implementing. So far we are having 5 vision centers. 2 vision centers are located in Haryana, and 3 are in Delhi. Okhla Phase 1, Patel Garden, and Janakpuri are our head office also. Apart from that, Dipalaya does a lot of activities surrounded around mega health camps, general health camps, gynecological health camps, so that women and children, and also pediatric health camps. Apart from that, we do a lot of interventions on nutrition. We do a lot of camps making people aware, especially girls and women, because their nutrition level is found to be very, very low. In fact, more than 50% of our women in the country, they are suffering from basic thing called anemia, basic disease. They don't have the required HB count also. So we do a lot of nutrition camps and make them aware about their diet, what kind of diet they should follow. And when it comes to nutrition, we focus on affordable nutrition. We focus on ingredients which are readily available at their houses, at their homes, and they don't have to spend a lot of money buying expensive items, protein rich items or iron rich items. So this is healthcare. We also have a lot of programs around skill development, around vocational training. So the girl that you see in this picture was one of our students who studied with us in one of our learning centers. I would say that she was about to drop out, but our teachers, they, counseled the parents, and then she was restored back to the centers, back to the schools. And, she got an opportunity to also study abroad in the US. And after completing her course, she came back to Delhi, and she is serving as a teacher in one of our vocational training centers. So as far as skill development is concerned, we focus on skill development of youth from urban slums and rural regions. We impart skilling in computer education, in softwares, different softwares, including web designing, including Adobe, Photoshop, etc. Apart from that, for girls and women, we also have special programs which help them in imparting, which help them in inculcating skills on beauty and wellness sector and fashion designing sector, because these are the most important skills right now. Although these are called traditional skills, but these skills are right now very much in demand, and women and girls, they would be able to have a consistent source of income. Okay, this is project. This is a picture from our women empowerment project. So as you all can see, these three women, they are very happy. They're actually holding their passbooks in their hands, and these passbooks show that what kind of money they are having in their banks. So basically, this picture is from a project which Dipalaya did with around 18,000 women. So this is about we help them in organizing them in self-help groups. So a typical self-help group contains 10 to 12 women. So these women, they are motivated to save money. So you all might be wondering that since they don't have money, from how and from where they will be saving money. So we ask them to start, with as some smaller sum as 50 rupees, 100 rupees, something like that, which they certainly borrow from their husbands initially. And gradually, as these self-help groups, they transition, every month they save money. They are encouraged to deposit that money in their banks. Not only that, these self-help groups, they decide how they will use this money. So many of the money women, they start thinking, let's have a small boutique, or let's have a small beauty program, or a small grocery shop. So what happens is that the small money which they have saved over the years helps them in setting up their own micro enterprises. And once these self-help groups, they mature, they comply with certain guidelines of the bank and the BARD. We help them in linking them, in establishing linkages with financial institutions and banks from where they can borrow money at a very low interest. So, over a period of, say 3 to 5 years, these women, they become ultra rich compared to their husbands. In fact, the situation is that, now the husbands, they start asking for money from these women. So this is our women empowerment project. This is our institutional care project. So you all might have you might have seen so many children on the streets. So basically this project deals with the needs of the street children. So this project was established in the year 2000. And our team used to visit railway platforms, Okhla Sabzi Mandi, these places where these children would be found, either stealing vegetables, or begging, or pickpocketing, doing all these kind of things. So our team used to identify these children, counsel them, motivate them, and we finally used to enroll them in our projects. And then we, once they are enrolled, we take care of all requirements, including food, clothing, education, counseling, sports, everything. So typically a child who gets enrolled in our institutional care project, it's like an orphanage, to put in a very simple language. It's like an orphanage, and typically a child spends around 6 to 12 years of his or her age with us. And once the child, crosses 18 years of age, as per law, we cannot, keep them with us. So they are then moved to, they are free to do whatever they want to. But Dipalya has been providing them support in terms of higher education, even in getting them placed and getting them employment somewhere, so that they are no longer dependent on anyone, and they are able to survive on their own. This is a picture from a differently abled project. You can see a group of children. They all are having a different kind of disabilities. Some of them are having physical disabilities. They are handicapped. They are using wheelchairs. Some of them, they cannot listen. Some of them, they are mentally retarded. Some of them they are intellectually disabled. So, these are the kind of children that we are catering to in our project. This project, we have only one project right now for differently able children. This project is located in Sanjay Colony, Okhla Phase 1, where, I think many of you would have boarded a metro station and, crossed Harkesh Nagar. So many of you might have seen a huge campus, a huge building, which is basically the Dipalya building. And this is the place where this project is actually located. So what we do is we identify the needs of all these children, because everyone having a different kind of disability have different needs and requirements. So based on that, we plan interventions with them. For example, simply put, a physically handicapped child may not be able to pick up objects, may not be able to put on his or her clothes on her own, which are called activities of daily living. So we inculcate these kind of habits. We help them in developing their gross motor skills, so that they can do certain tasks on their own. They are not dependent on others. So then, for hearing and speech impaired children, we give them therapies, different kind of therapies, so that they are able to listen, they are able to perform their activities, or they can use, sign languages and convey and communicate with each other. And we also give them, hearing aids, etc. Similarly, we provide physiotherapy at the same location. We provide them occupational therapy. All these therapies, they are provided at one point. And we have our vehicles, which, which are used to pick them up, so that they can come to the location, because many of the times parents, they don't have facilities to drop their children. And at the same time, they are dropped back at home. So this is how we, cater to these children. We ensure that they move forward in their lives. They are no longer treated as a burden in their family. I would be happy to tell you all that many of our children, they have passed their class 10th. Some of them also, they got employed in, retail chains like Big Basket, Amazon, etc. Yeah. Okay, this is basically Dipalya's impact. So we have educated more than 360,000 children so far in the last 42 years. We have around 24,000 library members, and we have educated 17,000 plus adults through our adult education programs. Our healthcare activities have impacted the lives of more than 13 lakh people, in which we also created awareness with around 15,000 women and girls on menstrual health, hygiene and healthcare. Our women empowerment and gender equality projects, they have impacted the lives of around 18,000 SHG members, who have established 8,500 enterprises. And this project is spread across more than 400 villages. Our institutional care project has touched the lives of around 1,800 children, 1,800 street children, and in an average, in a typical year, we serve around 60,000 60,000 meals in 1 year. Then we also have digital learning projects. As I mentioned, we have impacted the lives of around 6,500 children through digital learning. We have given career counseling and career guidance and mentoring to around 5,000 plus children. We have, during the pandemic, we have also helped many families in getting dry ration kits, financial support, and also, who's some of them, they have lost their breadwinners, we have given them one-time financial support also. So our project, the Mission Salamati, which is called Mission Salamati, has impacted around 1 crore people, around 2 crore people. We have helped them in, we have served around 2 crore meals to them. Then comes to differently able children, we have helped more than 4,700 children in community-based rehabilitation and becoming self-reliant. As far as vocational training and skill development is concerned, we have supported more than 22,000 youth in getting jobs and developing their skills. We have also conducted self-defense training sessions with more than 30,000 girls so that they are able to protect themselves during any kind of exigency. And I would request all of you to help us in spreading the word about Dipalya. You all can partner with us in various ways in small activities. As an institute, people can engage with us. They can donate their skills. They can act as a mentor or a guide to children. They can celebrate their special days with us, like celebrating their birthdays, their anniversaries, or any special day of achievement that can be celebrated with children. You can distribute meals, you can distribute stationery items, or anything which is of use to children. As an institute, you all can also have, we can have a payroll giving platform where where all of your employees can contribute small monies like 10-50 rupees per month, and our people can collect them, and we'll give you exact information where that money has been utilized. Other ways to partner is like as we believe in that each one of us should teach one. So this concept of sponsor a child is there, where you can all think of sponsoring one child and giving them a good quality of education. For students, we have internship opportunities where they can partner, where they can come and help us in implementation of certain activities on the ground. It can vary from conducting baseline surveys. It can vary from conducting teaching sessions, counseling sessions, even conducting theme-based sessions with the students, with the youth, with the children, with any kind of age group. You also can also help us in social media campaigning. You can give in-kind donations. You can help us drive our crowdfunding platforms as well. So this is how you all can help Dipalya, and not only help Dipalya, basically help the beneficiaries in creating create a larger impact in the society. Yeah, thank you. I would be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for providing such detailed insights about your prestigious organization. It was nice to have a social perspective in our annual convention. We truly believe in the work that Dipalya does, and I thank you again and wish you all the best for your NGO's future.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with our concluding session of the convention, Decentralized Finance, Blockchain and Cryptocurrency. We are honored to welcome Dr. Mukesh Jindal, who will chair the session.
Dr. Mukesh Jindal did his master's in finance from the University of Delhi after completing engineering in computer science. He is a CFA charter holder from the CFA Institute US and a CAIA charter holder from CAIA Association US. He is also a CFP CM from the Financial Planning Standards Board. He completed his doctorate in finance from the University of Delhi. His research paper, Relationship of Asset Allocation, Policy and Portfolio Performance, has been published in some of the esteemed research journals. After gaining vast experience in investment and finance, he co-founded Alpha Capital, a firm specializing in managing family office and investment portfolios for affluent families.
He is passionate about teaching and enjoys explaining the nitty-gritties of investment, finance, and other related topics. He is also attached with the Department of Financial Studies as an associate faculty. While Alpha Capital has received many accolades from reputed organizations, Dr. Mukesh Jindal has been recognized as a leading global financial advisor by City Wealth London. He has authored the book Dream Big and Crorepati Mindset, which was published by CNBC TV 18. The book is a modern-day compendium on personal finance and investment. A very warm welcome, sir.
Now let's welcome the panelists for the session. Firstly, it's a privilege to welcome Mr. Amit Joshi, founder and CEO of Hashbricks. Amit is an SGA Bocconi, University of Michigan and Amity alumni with 11 years of work experience in business strategy and product management. He has worked for MNCs such as Ericsson and Amazon in the past. Though for the last 5 years, he has been involved in the blockchain and crypto space, where he has built 2 ventures and advised a few more covering investments, product and business strategy development and tokenomics. Some of the verticals he has addressed include payments, healthcare, voting, supply chain, DeFi, NFT, asset tokenization, etc.
We are also privileged to have with us Mr. Alvin Agnil. Alvin is the founder and CEO of Indian Labs, which operates pagalguy.com, India's largest and most influential online community for business school applicants and students. He did his MBA in entrepreneurship and strategy from Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania and is also an alumni of University of Mumbai. It is commendable how Mr. Agnil ran a technology business without any formal education in technology. He believed that one needs to have an idea and vision for the execution, and that's about it. We are honored to have you with us, sir.
Last but not least, it's a privilege to welcome Mr. Naresh Jain. Mr. Naresh Jain is an entrepreneur and investor with more than 27 years of industry experience. Naresh is the co-founder and COO of Snapper Future Tech Private Limited, a blockchain and innovation company. He has done extensive research on blockchain technology and built products and solutions in the last 4 years across multiple blockchain platforms and industries. He has played different roles on various kinds of IT engagements across industries and traveled globally to servicing customers through IBM, Deloitte, KPIT.
Mr. Naresh is APICS certified and completed his executive MBA from IIM Calcutta. He strongly believes blockchain is another revolution like the internet, and we will be seeing a different world in the coming decade. He wants to continue with his journey of product innovations and build a world-class technology company.
A tree has been planted on behalf of each of you as a token of gratitude. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. We welcome you all to this session. Without further ado, we hand over the stage to Dr. Mukesh Jindal. Sir, it's all yours. The Q&A session will be taken up at the end, and you can post your questions in the chat box.
Thank you so much, team. A very good afternoon to all the ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be part of this convention, and especially because I'm an alumni of Department of Financial Studies. I've always been in the audience, so being a speaker always feels special, and especially on this topic, blockchain, decentralized finance, and digital currency. I'm highly passionate about it. It's one of the hottest topic currently, and it generates a lot of mixed emotions. Some people feel that it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, or maybe a tulip mania. Some people feel it's a future and it's going to disrupt everything, and which is fair. Everyone can have their own view. I personally feel that the blockchain, the crypto, today what it is similar to what internet was in 90s. When internet came in the 90s, we used to use Yahoo chat. I'm sure no one imagined that one day there will be Amazon, and you can have goods in a couple of hours, and it's going to disrupt so much of business. Or I'm sure people in 90s never imagined that a convention of a university can happen over a Zoom. So just imagine, we are doing that today. Similarly, people are not able to envisage that what DeFi or other blockchain technology is going to do to our world. And I think in next 10 years, it's going to completely change. And, we have in our panel today some of big experts, Alvin, Amit, Naresh. They are doing a lot of work on this field, and they know much better that how it's going to play out. So without wasting much time, I think it's better to, hear from the experts. And so, I'll have first question from Alvin. Hi, Alvin, how are you? Sure, I think your mic is off.
I'm good. Thank you so very much.
So Alvin, talking about the DeFi, the decentralized finance, it is believed that in next 10 years, we can imagine a world without banks, without exchange, without lending institutions, and DeFi is going to disrupt everything. What do you think about it? What do you think? How is it going to play out?
I mean, this is the start of the revolution, if you will, right? I mean, we're seeing DeFi companies built by 19-year-old kids who now have over $1 billion of assets locked. For people in the audience, you should look up something called as Ferrari Capital. It's a 19-year-old guy, student in the US, working out, studying at the same time. And then he's built a DeFi protocol where he's locked in close to $1 billion in value. So effectively, I think all of the bank components will get unbundled at some point in time. I know it's very ambitious to say, hey, this is exactly how the world is going to evolve, but I don't think anybody has a clue as to how it's going to evolve. But that said, this is possibly the biggest change that we are seeing in the monetary system, how people are incentivized, how money can be moved without intermediaries. And I think that will have phenomenal ramifications. Already in the last couple of years, you have seen some phenomenal products. Today, you can actually lend your digital currencies and get 15 to 18% returns, which is something that even banks cannot provide. So we have already sort of gotten there, and this is sort of early stages. So how it's going to go, I don't think anybody here can predict, but I would be surprised if banks are going to remain competitive in this space.
It's very interesting, Alvin, to know that we already have platforms where investors can get 15 to 20%, especially when in India the FD rates are at 4%. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience will want to know more about it. I think this is a very interesting question, and let's hear about this from Amit. What do you think, Amit? What's your view? How do you envisage, DeFi? What's going to happen? DeFi. What's going to happen?
Yeah, thanks for the question. As Aldo mentioned, what happens 10 years from now, you cannot just imagine out, but how it's coming out right now, with more and more people accepting it in different geographies, Pacific, specifically in Korea, Singapore, and when you look at the US and Europe, when you look at the interest rates they get in their banks, they more or less pay money to hold money in banks. So they are already moving towards it. And in India, what we're seeing is more and more developers experimenting with creating smart contracts. They're providing this exact same for banks to banking services and decentralized finance. The extra edge it gives over normal holdings in a centralized exchange is you hold the keys to your own wallet. Nobody can actually put a cap on how much you can transact or not. They will, and the part is there are travel rules and recommendations coming out to try to regulate and take part in this, which is moving forward in the DeFi space, be it a flash carried out on Aave, which can be done in around 10 minutes, and arbitrage you can already make if you are spending something on $100,000, you can make around $10,000 in 10 minutes. And if you contribute 20%, can balloon up to around 5,000. Again, projects attracting liquidity, but you have, of course, to do your own research, how to take these protocols and participate. You've seen, like, as of now, it's a 60-40 game. 40% projects are genuine, and you see same people who have already partaken in previous DeFi protocols and contracts. They're putting up new features and more audiences. Yet there are a lot of projects which cannot handle, and they did not get the codes audited and their smart contract audited, due to which they are liquidated all the whole back. So you can put your own asset in a wallet and earn interest on it, and then take out collateralized loans on it in a duration of time, which is a direct function of the bank they are attacking. And in the US, this also already has been started. What already started is banks trying to incorporate these functions, and these functions are not easy to replicate if you are working in the real-time market, because doing legal not projects are not doing party.
I mean, just to interrupt, I think there's some disturbance in the sound or which is coming from your side. Maybe you can check the connectivity. There is a lot of
Just
yeah. Hello.
am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible. I think there was some disturbance. Yeah, but very interesting, Amit. I got what you were saying. And so having said that, I definitely understand that DeFi gives you more control, gives more control to the people about the keys, about the assets. Now, Naresh, coming to you, taking this forward, we all are bullish about the DeFi, how it has its own advantages, it's more efficient. But I'm sure there are some negatives about the system. There's a risk, how much control you have, and about hacking, those kind of things. What do you think? Because a lot of people fear, these kind of things. So are there any key disadvantages of the DeFi, and is there any work happening on that?
Yeah, all right. Mukesh, can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Is it fine? Yeah. All right. And so let me start by saying the way you started, Mukesh, and I fully concur with you. And in fact, whatever Alvin and Amit mentioned, I concur with them. So I also strongly believe that we are seeing another revolution like internet, and it's really happening. I can see in the last 5 years now we're in this space, and the kind of changes are happening in the potential. So it's bringing revolution in such a way that it is going to impact our life in a very big way. The way internet has changed our life, it's going to change our life. So businesses, the way they are doing, they will have to change their way of doing business. And what it means, the question what you raised, so whether this technology or this decentralized finance, whether it is going to impact businesses in a negative way, yes, it's basically what it means. It requires the businesses to transform themselves. Unless they change, unless they adopt technology, it's going to be difficult for them to survive. And you can say it's a downside. It's not actually a downside. It's a survival of the fittest, right? Whoever is transforming or changing themselves, they are going to survive. Others are going to die. Now, let me come to the other point. So real disadvantages. So personally, I don't see any disadvantages, but challenges are there. Various challenges are there. The biggest challenge is the regulatory challenge. Okay. For example, if I talk about cryptocurrency, it's so all this Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and all that, they're not regulated. There's no control. There's no central party. And actually, it's actually creating an alternative of our parallel economy. Earlier, we are used to deal in cash. Now we are. It has become easy, and that is why you would see that one of the biggest adoption of cryptocurrencies in Africa, because African countries, they have various challenges in terms of their currency, right? Their currency value is low. So it is creating different alternative to run a parallel economy. And that is the biggest challenge. And that is there because bringing regulatory regulations at global level, it's not easy. Because first of all, technology is so complex, it's not easy to understand. It's not easy to understand how it's going to pan out, how it's going to impact us. So bringing regulations by country, by a government, it's not easy. And then, because being a global thing, here I can transfer the Bitcoin to anybody globally without involvement of anybody. What it means that we need a global body who can bring a global level regulations, and unless that happens, challenges are there, it's going to be there. And slowly, that's going to change. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Naresh. I think what you raised is a very important point. global regulations on crypto is something which is very important, especially because the assets, it can be transferred globally anywhere. Now, taking it from here, the regulations, like in India, we don't have regulations as such. And for the benefit of audience, let me give you some interesting numbers. Okay. The number of demat accounts in India today is at 6 crores. Okay. And out of that, the active demat account is only 2 crores. And now you'll be surprised to know how many crypto accounts we have. There was a research which came globally. Now in India, it is estimated that around 10 crore people hold crypto accounts, crypto assets, which is highest in the world. And there are more than 2 crore active investors. So we are talking about crypto investors being, much bigger than your demat and the share investors. Let's say in Department of Finance, we all are taught about stock market and everything. And now you have a crypto space, which is much larger than your stock market. And unfortunately, we don't have a regulation. So taking it forward from here, Alvin, I have a question for you. Now, we don't have a regulation. And now, so why is government not coming out with any regulation? And what do you think is going to happen on the regulatory front? Because a lot of people, like as an advisor also, when I talk to a lot of investors, they have this one thing in mind: what if it gets banned? So what's your take, Alvin, on the regulation?
See, regulation, a simpler word for regulation is control. And effectively, this is not something that can be controlled. Right? I think the biggest attempts are being made at exit points to regulate. So if somebody wants to convert Bitcoin to cash, I think that is where regulation will come in, because there is a decentralized world and then there is the real world. The moment you touch the real world, I think you're going to get regulated. However, I do not think there is any way for them to regulate code at this point in time. So when we're talking about regulation, yes, I think the US has started. The SEC has now actively started regulating and saying you can't do X, Y, Z. And so, we saw a big flurry of firms move out of the US to other locations and now say, and now there is no regulation for us, because now you can't necessarily control us. Secondly, regulation comes into play when a lot of physical infrastructure exists. 99.9% of DeFi is code that is being written, that is being run on a decentralized blockchain. So it's very tough to say, hey, listen, what are we going to regulate? So exit points like exchanges where you're going to convert your money will be regulated for sure. That's going to happen without a doubt. However, I don't think there is too many ways to see how this will work out. So, I know we spoke initially about a global, council that might regulate, but I think that is way too far-fetched. I think individual countries are struggling with it. I mean, you now have certain countries which are using Bitcoin as the reserve currency. So it's not like, even countries are willing to listen to each other. So the chances of a global setup sort of, creating a set of rules that we're going to agree by is a little far-fetched in my opinion. However, there are risks. So without regulation, for example, one of the risks that does exist in DeFi is somebody just could hack the contract and, the entire money could get liquidated. So the ability for you to lose $1 billion also can happen over 30 minutes. So, all said and done, when I mentioned that there is a 19-year-old kid, please understand that he's attending school. And if he possibly, did not get his coding right, the entire $1 billion that he is locked in, there's a chance that he could lose it. And you basically now have no recourse. You can't go to the government and say, hey, listen, I put in the bill, $100, give it back to me. So I think since it's at the nascent stage, regulation will come in staggered forms. However, to think that fundamentally DeFi or these coins are going to be regulated, I think that's a little far-fetched. That's my view.
Thank you, Alvin. Thanks a lot for raising this point. I think you rightly said that if the regulations are not there, there's always a possibility of the risk of hacking and other things. And I think, personally, I think regulation is important. Now, whether it's positive or negative, that's a different thing. But in India, you have so many scams. With the bank accounts only, you have so many scams. And, because people are not so educated, the awareness is not so much. And if you don't have a proper regulation, there will be, people may lose a lot of money in that in the whole system. Now, regulation is going to come. In fact, government has been aggressively discussing it. Amit, I have a question with you on regulation. I'll take one more, on this regulation, we'll have one more discussion in the sense that if, let's say, regulation is supposed to come, it should come in what form? What should be, how should it be regulated according to you? Because, you're doing a lot of work on the blockchain. You understand the smart contracts, everything. So what according, because we can't have a ban, blanket ban. So what should be allowed? What should not be allowed? So what should be allowed? What should not?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question. So when you look at how, starting from the technical front, the first things that have to be put in place is any DeFi contract that is to be put in on chain should be audited. Preventing the liquidation of contracts is something should be proposed and should be agreed upon. And when you talk about like having a global body or something like that, recommendations may come from global councils, which again tried out for the Bitcoin mining, that we regulate how Bitcoin mining would work. That was tried in 2014. That worked out. So regulations coming up in this, what sure would be, as Alvin mentioned, or the on-ramp, as in anybody who's converting fiat to crypto or vice versa, off-ramping it out. Those guys have to be registered. Those merchants have to be registered who are dealing in crypto assets, and they have to take the amount of information that they can take in from any investor has to be detailed out as well. Those 2 points are the starting point, and then you go upon like prominence of what details are available on chain. You require additional details there and how you work there. So it'll be tranches. So first of all, it has to be the conversion, and then you go towards the actual platforms, contracts, and covering those parts.
Mukesh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thanks, Naresh. Thank you, Amit. I think I agree with you. That's how it should be. Very interesting. Taking it forward. Now, when we talk about crypto, a lot of time people think crypto is all about, Bitcoin or Ethereum, and, it's a speculation, and, people don't understand the technology behind. Now, if you talk about the underlying technology, the blockchain, both Naresh and Amit are doing phenomenal work. And, Naresh, you are working on smart contracts, asset tracking, record keeping, verification. And in fact, your company is recently, I believe, working with one of the state for online voting, so you're doing a lot of work. So can you tell Naresh about this blockchain technology? How is it helping and changing our life? Yeah. Naresh, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so am I clear? Because I was not able to really understand what Amit was talking about.
There's disturbance from Amit.
And Amit, I suggest probably you try to, if you can try removing your headphone or earphone, or maybe try to reconnect and see so that everybody can benefit. Okay, all right. So Mukesh, yeah, this is a very interesting question. And for that, it's important for all of us to understand what blockchain technology is all about. Because most of the people have know Bitcoin or Ethereum. They heard about that cryptocurrency. But what is blockchain? That's very, very important to understand. And unless we have clarity on that, we cannot understand the benefit of that. So I would like to touch upon that part. First of all, blockchain is technology, is the underlying technology of Bitcoin or Ethereum or any cryptocurrency, just the application. Even though Bitcoin was invented and blockchain came with that. So purpose was that Bitcoin should be created or some kind of decentralized currency should be created. But with that, the blockchain technology came. And when later on, we all realized that it has much more uses beyond cryptocurrency. And that is when people started exploring different ways. And that is why smart contract came in picture. So currently what we see today, any kind of system, it's all centralized. Blockchain technology is a decentralized application, a distributed architecture. So what it means that it's not, we are not depending upon only one central party. And because of that, what can happen that we can connect, we can go outside our enterprise, outside our company, and we can create a connected ecosystem. Because when we do businesses, we don't do business with ourselves, we do business with others. They have their own system. Each company has their own system. They're working silos. Their systems are not connected. Because of that, they always face a challenge of data reconciliation or real-time update of data. So with the help of blockchain, we can bring different organizations together and it can become like one single system. So basically all companies' databases or systems can be connected on one single network and the communication between them can happen. It helps in bringing efficiency, automation. And here data cannot be deleted or altered because it requires a consensus from each party or party as per the predefined rules. Because of that, the data is secure. Data cannot be deleted, it cannot be altered, it's immutable. So data is secure, it's permanent over there. And there's no single point of failure. You can access system anywhere and you'll get up-to-date data. There's a transparency. So if you see all of these points, like use of smart contract, which is nothing but, smart contract is nothing but it's a program, self-executable program, where rules are defined and whenever certain conditions are met, it executes automatically. So use of smart contract, because of distributed architecture, because of immutability, it provides efficiency, it provides transparency, it provides security, it provides single point of failure, so automation, all of that. And that is what is going to change our life. What it means that if I take example, if like many of you must be dealing in stocks. Even today, when you buy some stock, there's a T+2, 2 days. It takes 2 days of time for settlement. With the help of blockchain technology, that settlement can be done real time. Not only that settlement can be done real time, payment can also be done real time automatically. And that's a power. See, you use Paytm, you use IMPS. If we talk about IMPS, UPI, behind the scene, the reconciliation has to happen. It's not actually real time. Behind the scene, reconciliation has to happen. And over there, there's some possibility of frauds. And when we are talking about this, using technology that can be done, that reconciliation can happen automatically, frauds can be avoided. So what we are going to see is slowly and slowly, it is going to bring automation in our life. And that is the biggest change what we are going to see going forward.
Thank you, Naresh. In fact, I should in the backend there has to be reconciliation, but with the open architecture of blockchain, the settlement can happen immediately, and the money can come immediately, which is going to be mind blowing. So this is just one of the powerful examples that how blockchain or decentralized finance can really make our current system and life better. Thank you so much, Naresh. Amit has joined back. I want to ask one question on blockchain from Amit, because he's working a lot on blockchain, especially on the health, insurance, supply chain. These are some of the social sectors. And so Amit, hope your mic works better this time. So would you like to tell us that how you are impacting these sectors with your blockchain work?
Sure. Am I audible now?
Yeah, this is better this time.
Awesome. When I look at the supply chain, just building on what Naresh was mentioning, it is more about providing transparency to the entire network, providing provenance of what's happening, and making people accountable on each peer that's involved in the network. Those are the important characteristics that we are looking at with blockchain, and of course, the non-corruptibility is there and immutability part. The use cases in healthcare that I work on are first one, electronic healthcare record management. That was in partnership with NHS. We just presented out a POC. The second use case that we worked on, which is more of a hybrid ledger, was working to provide proper track and trace solution for counterfeit drugs. So involving the entire supply chain there itself, which helps us see what from raw materials to the shops or to the end user, how the entire supply chain works there. And these were really revealing things, and they've been experimenting out. The scalability again is something which is being addressed by moving more towards the public chain side, because private chains have their limitations how easily you can expand. And of course, with addressing such big as healthcare or voting, you do require government knowledge and awareness there as well. So bringing them as a pair was an important challenge that we accommodated in Malta and in the UK. And India also we've tried. As I said, a POC, but due to the COVID, the case could be taken further. So those things have sorted. On the sustainability side as well, we worked on a use case where we looked at how the energy consumption would work at the current juncture when placed compared to how it will be placed in a smart city format, and blockchain will be used for not only communication and storage of data, but real-time communication with different devices stored at home. So it's been really interesting because the bottom line for all these things is blockchain providing them proper provenance tracking and transparency to the entire network, something that cannot be corrupted with. And it's taken a lot of time just because to get all players on board, that's required, because the requirements that has to be accommodated for the solution has to be agreed upon by all parties involved. And that's something with a smart contract you can put in place, and a preamble that's set for the entire network and could be used.
Sure. Thank you, Amit. The disturbance with the mic, with the sound continues. I think you should create some blockchain technology for such conferences so that the disturbance is.
Yeah, let me that.
Let's. Talking about, we'll take it further from here. The time is just flying, and I think this is one topic we can talk whole day. And but I think let's talk on some important themes which are still left. I'll have this question with Alvin. So Alvin, we talked about decentralized currency, and now, all the governments are talking about CBDC, central bank digital currency. Even RBI is talking about coming out with a digital currency. China is working on the yuan, and all the countries maybe out of fear of the, decentralized currency. And, now talking about decentralized, digital currency, it has its own advantage. In the sense it increases inclusion, the distribution of money is good. But what's your view, Alvin, on this? When is RBI expected to come out? Will it be good? And compared to decentralized currency, where will it stand?
So usually governments have no job in innovation. So it's very tough for a government to take a stance and say, hey, listen, I'm going to do decentralization better than others. Because the government is as centralized as an institution as they can get. But that said, yes, you have multiple governments making announcements on they are launching their own local currency. So effectively, I think they would launch it. I'm not sure about their timelines, but it's also not too tough to launch. where they will stumble is the fact is post-launch, they will have to distribute this currency. So basically, they will have to integrate technologically with all kinds of exchanges across the world. So, to give you an example, there is the USDT, which is the USD Tether, and then you have the USDC, which is the USD Circle. All said and done, these are private institutions which accept US dollars, and the moment they have US dollars, they end up minting a certain amount of currency. This is exactly the function that a CBDC would do if you're launching an Indian rupee, which is a digital format. So it's not too tough. However, the fact is, this currency has to rotate. This currency has to be traded against something for it to be more distributed. And for that, they would have to plug into all of these exchanges. And that's where I sort of think that all of them will struggle, because then they will have to go to a WazirX and a Binance and everybody and say, hey, listen, please list our pair as well. You need to have the Indian currency there. So I don't know what kind of a fundamental problem it's going to solve if they can head down that path. But as of now, it's very clear what is this one somebody launching a digital currency and asking somebody to hold a 16-word secret password to their wallet. I don't think that is what is my definition of inclusion. So I don't see any inclusion play here. There could be a play to try to understand this, but usually governments are best not allowed to touch innovative stuff.
Sure. Absolutely, Alvin. Even in fact, I agree with you that inclusion may not be the big play, because what Paytm is doing, and because Paytm is there with almost anyone who has a mobile phone, and it's all digital. Similarly, that's what digital currency is going to do. But government will have its own play. So Naresh, one more question on CBDC. Now, one big disadvantage which people talk about digital currency is the privacy. And people fear that people will lose the privacy because there will be trail of the money. And so what's your view on that, Naresh?
Okay, so let me ask a counter question to you. So why should not be there trade? Basically, see, the question is if we have a digital currency like a CBDC, right? And if there's no trail, then what is the difference between Ethereum and a regulated currency like backed by central bank? There's no difference. And if there's no trail, you can use that money for any purpose, any illegal purpose.
Correct.
And that is why it's very, very important that we have regulations over there. And that is why CBDC is becoming popular. Because rather than using global non-regulated currency, let's use this technology for our own good by creating our own currency, which is a replacement of fiat currency. So I have my views which are a little contrary to Alvin. I will not go there, but I strongly believe that this will help. You're not breaching any privacy because of this. Rather, this will help in basically controlling your parallel economy. When we talk about using like black money and all that, this will help in controlling that. So corruption, black money, money laundering, that is where it's going to help rather than breaching privacy. But that's my viewpoint.
No, Naresh, I think that's a fantastic point, and I think it's good to have different views on the topic. I agree with you on the front that it will control the black money, the tax collection will go up. That is all good, but there are different section of the people who believe that fundamental rights are also important, and sometimes government can use your trail against you, which of course even now it can happen as well. And but I think any regulation, if you want to know, it's about the crypto assets. The prices are going up. And just for the benefit of everyone, let me give you some numbers. Today, the estimated market cap of gold is $11 trillion. The Indian stock market, the market cap is around $3.5 trillion, and crypto is already at $2.6 trillion. So it's already there. It's pretty huge. Has been there for many years. Last 1 year we had phenomenal rally. I know investors who have made phenomenal money, and so I'll ask each one of you, what's your view that where is the crypto prices expected to go up, and where are you putting your personal money? So Alvin, from you, I know you are a big investor in the crypto, and personally I've taken a lot of advice from you on where to invest. So what's your view on the next few years on the crypto prices, and according to you, where should one invest? These are personal views for the benefit of the audience. These are no advisory, nothing. Yeah.
So, I mean, think about this. I think the world is changing. You're going to see crashes. You're going to see bull runs. You're going to be in a position where you might be able to invest 1 lakh and you might be able to turn it into 1 crore. And you're also going to be in a position where you're going to invest 10 lakhs and you're going to end up with nothing in your hands. So take all advice. There is no advice to be given here. However, what I would suggest is when you start researching what's happening in the crypto space, you know that we've just started skimming the surface. Very few people literally understand what it means, what the potential of crypto is. So start understanding, invest in good DeFi projects. So for example, a newer trend is play to earn. So you're now seeing a lot of projects where gaming companies are now giving you a lot of tokens which you can exchange for money or goods. And then also in the last couple of months, you saw some massive run up with NFT projects. So as long as you are in that space, you start understanding what's happening, what's moving, what is the next big thing, you should definitely invest some amount of your money over the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, you guys are way too young to be sitting only on 6% return that your Kotak Bank is going to give you, because some other kid out there is going to put in 1 lakh rupees and walk out with 1 crore, and you're going to look like idiots at the end of it. So you should put in some amount of money that you're willing to risk. I won't name any projects as such, because I think unless you sort of, else you're going to come and blame me and burn my house down if something goes wrong for you. So I'm not okay with that. So that said, is it going to be a bull run? I would say, give for the next 6 months, I sort of expect a bull run. Then things are going to sort of possibly sort of plateau out. However, stay invested in the space for the next 10 years. So don't as much be concerned about the volatility.
Thank you so much, Alvin. So Amit, I hope your mic works this time. Over to you. The same question. What do you think about the crypto prices, and where have you invested, and what should investors be doing?
I hope too my mic is working. Hope
Absolutely.
I'm audible.
It's working finally.
Yeah. Issue resolved. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I started my investment in 2016. So first token I invested in was in Bitcoin. I still hold the Bitcoins that I invested in that time. And then it carried over to other projects. For me, the most interesting space to explore is DeFi. And my only advice or what I do is I don't like pick up every project that comes across. Just if you want to invest in something, pick up 5 that like are a little more aligned to what you have done and what you can understand better, and invest in rather 1 or 2 with the dispensable income you can put in. That's a very good place to start. As of now, what Alvin was mentioning, the metaverse part, play to earn, that's really interesting for gamers who are engaged globally. That's a very good space to start off, and how they trade off to the secondary markets as well. What I personally have invested a little, and though I see that this space could be a boom or a bust, is the NFT space. So for any meme tokens, I like, if I'm not invested in from the first round, in the retail markets, most of the people from my end, I stay away from it. So anybody who wants to invest in any project should do their research rather than taking up any tokens or just going up with the crypto trend, because you may end up losing a lot than the profit, because here you're not talking about just percentages, you're talking about multiples when you're trying to invest in crypto, and it can go up real fast and it can come down even faster. So you have to be, if you're in this for a long run, pick up 4 or 5 projects after doing your research and build a portfolio around it. That's like a safe and yet like progressive enough.
Thank you so much, Amit. I really agree with you that research and holding it for long term is the key to the crypto investment. So Naresh, what's your thoughts on the
Okay, so people don't like me. Because yeah, so let me talk about my partner. He is as old as my daughter. Okay, my partner in the company, he's a co-founder. He is a multi-millionaire. Okay, he is just 23. He's a multi-millionaire, and he made all his money in crypto space, NFT and crypto and all that. I never invested because I never believed in that. And even today, if you ask me, it's a gamble. That's my viewpoint. It's a gamble. And Amit, whatever mentioned, see, even Alvin said something, but you have to understand. Even you can go to a casino and win a jackpot, or maybe you can multiply your money multiple times. It's the same way, because here, unless there's a business model behind that, and I'm not saying there's no business model. Some of the cryptocurrency, some of the token, there's a business model, but problem is it's not regulated. But if it is a regulated business model is there, then that project is good. There's a possibility that it can go multiply. Today, I can raise a token. In 1 hour, I can create a token, and I can create a million token, or billion token, or trillion token. I can put a price to that, so 1 cent, $1, and launch it. And the way I've seen, like last 4 years, I've seen the kind of scams are there in the market. And see, it's all manipulation which is happening. Whatever price you see, the way it grows, it's all manipulation. Reality is far, far away. It's so, if you are a big gambler, I suggest you should do that, because there's possibility. Bitcoin can go be it can be $1 million in next couple of years. It's possible. Of course, if you believe, go and invest. By investing like few lakhs, you can become a millionaire. The question is, are you willing to take that risk? If you're willing to take the risk, you believe in that, yes. But personally, I do not recommend. And that's why I'm a bad boy for all of my friends who ever take my advice, who have been taking my advice the last few years.
Thank you, Naresh. In fact, that's I think the right way, and because we're putting it a caution that it has to be regulated. The projects have to be good. You just can't blindly take up anything, because it ends up in scam. And in 2018, a lot of people lost money, and people without understanding the project, just put the money. They're driven by the bubble, and they're not ready to handle that kind of risk. So anyone investing in a crypto should be okay that it can become zero. So I think I really appreciate Naresh on the caution, but yes, if it's regulated and if you are convinced about the project, you should. That's what Alvin and Amit said. Do your own research. Alvin did not, and Amit also did not recommend any specific projects. It's up to you. So I think personally, I think learn as much as possible, and you feel confident. That's when you invest. Those were the questions from my side. We are not left with much time. Maybe 5-10 minutes. We'll open the questions for the audience. And so, everyone in the audience, if you have any question for these stalwarts who are here, let me tell you, these are amazing guys. You won't get a chance to ask questions again easily. So please put questions, and we will, take it with them and learn from them. So, this is an interesting question from Kanishk. that how we as finance students perform valuations on crypto assets. Is there any model to understand how is market deciding upon the prices? So how can one, understand the fair value of a crypto? So anyone
Can
wants
I
to take
answer
up?
that? Can I answer
Yeah,
that?
Naresh,
In fact,
please,
I
go
already
ahead.
answered that.
Yeah,
There's no
you
business
already
model.
did.
It's not a legal thing. It's not regulated. You see, it's all speculative. Today, I believe it will go up. I'll go and start investing that, and price will go up. There's no factor over there to evaluate unless it's a security token. If you know about security token is there, if you go and invest in security token, there's a proper business model. It's regulated. That is where it makes sense. But non-regulated token, there's nothing behind that, which is regulated, and there's always a risk, and there's no calculation. It's all speculation. And I'm not sure how Alvin is going to react on this, but yeah,
We will take the reaction of Alvin. He's a big bullish investor. And so Alvin, what's your take? How do we value these assets?
Mukesh, either we can argue who's right, or we can figure out, who wants to stay poor. So either you bet when there is something innovative that's happening, or you can not take a bet. I don't think that there is any concern around it. And I think based on thresholds, people should take their bets. That said, as a finance student, it's a very interesting question. All said and done, I did go to Wharton, and trust me, they also do not like cryptocurrencies. Okay. The fact is, because it's something that they do not understand. You have to be very clear that whenever you're at a business school, business schools teach you about innovation. Business schools per se inherently are not innovative at all. Business schools have not changed their business model for the last, God knows, 120 odd years. So whenever you're sort of looking at newer things, it's very tough to sort of turn back to the school and say, hey, listen, how do we value these currencies? Yes, none of this is regulated for sure. That's a great point that Naresh makes. And I think that is important as well, because virtually, there was this whole Bretton Woods system where all the money really was backed by gold until a point in time. After that, governments just decided rather unilaterally that we will print money whenever we feel like. The US is currently, I think, printing hundreds of trillions of dollars because they just feel that they need to boost the economy. Basically, all said and done, this is also very funny money if you really think about it. While Naresh mentioned that today there are tokens which are basically putting out 1 million tokens out there, I think our governments are very similar versions of these scams, where all they're also happily printing as much money as possible. They're not backed by any assets. They're only backed by the promise that, hey, listen, the government of the United States is willing to pay back. Is it backed by any asset like land or gold? The answer is no. So it would be a very long conversation to sort of unbundle facts like economics, unbundle things like technology. But as I said, this is an extremely risky asset class, So I am very thankful that there are also people like Naresh who basically tell people that this is extremely risky. Please don't lose your house on this. And that is something that, for me personally, I'm a higher risk individual. So I'm like, ठीक है ना, करके देखते हैं. अगर मिला तो मिला, नहीं मिला तो ठीक है, But on the other hand, if you ask me over the next 10-15 years, which are the key places that I would put my money to exit with 1,000 crores, then I would say cryptocurrency is sort of the top of the list for me at this point in time. Does it change in the next couple of years? Well, if something really more interesting comes along, more than happy to sort of take a look at it. But that's it, So I remember I invested in one token which was at 29 cents. This was 2017-ish. And today, each of those tokens are at $45 odd. So I think Mukesh knows that token. So there's the one token.
I invested late on that.
You invested late in. So I got in at 29 cents, and today it's at roughly around $45 odd. I don't think any stock market would have been able to match those returns. Now you can ask me this question, but paisa milega kya? Yeah, surely convert it into BTC and get it out from one of these exchanges, pay taxes on it. Yes, it is legal money. So it is possible if you're really looking for supernormal returns. please do understand that, please do supernormal evaluation and take some supernormal risk. That's how I would sort of wrap it.
Sure. No, absolutely, Alvin. I think it's more about the risk profile. See, there are different kind of asset classes, and some come with a very high risk. And so if you're comfortable with that risk, you're comfortable to lose everything, it's fine.
Yes, this
So-
is the highest risk asset class out there, as Mukesh puts it. So Mukesh is sort of wealth manager for a lot of the wealthy families in the country. So I'm sure when he goes to them, they must be like, "Isme risk kya hai?" And I'm sure he's sort of answering this question all the time.
Yeah.
So
we'll have this last discussion with Amit, especially because his mic is working good now and we can hear him better. So Amit, we have a conflicting view between Naresh and Alvin. So what's your final thoughts on this?
Sure, I like risk averseness from Naresh and Alvin's risk affinity. I completely and totally get it, and it's bound to be there. And the underlying point amongst both the things that they mentioned is only invest dispensable income. Don't put in your savings. Just put your rainy day money, which everybody has been taught in the 1.5 years last year, in the last 1.5 years, that save, and that will be really good. Investing in cryptocurrencies requires a lot of time and diligence to be put in, and there's no better advisor than you where you want to risk it all. You can ask anybody at the end of the day from the 10 recommendations. It's you who's got to put in the money and take the risk out of it. I'm happy to, and I'm an investor in BTC and more than a few tokens, which have given me really high returns. But that's not made me think that I'll start investing in 100 projects at a time. You have to have a satiation level. Like, okay, this is the level of risk I go towards. And the first thing you do for that is start learning more about blockchains and how they've evolved, and then look towards projects. Because this is like, you start off at step one, because day one, you go and try to invest in a token, you may not be the most aware about where your investments are going. So as an individual, you have to understand what the downside could be for this. So being a little more aware of what's involved and how solid the tech involved and is, that's like step one to start off. Because as of now, we see the markets have been going really high, and investing at a point in this juncture may have a little more downside to a really new investor as compared to the investors who are like Alvin and you and me, already in the market. We know we've been here from around, I've been here from $3,000 on BTC and I'm still there. So we've covered this path. We'll be bullish. See, they'll go up. But anybody who jumps in right now has to understand, okay, this is a risk, and you still won't get the multiples that you're trying to expect out of it. So, and just covering both the bases is required. And getting and for the regulatory side, getting more into it, I don't think even the regulations that come in, they'll come in more in the range of 3 to 5 years, which will be really good enough time for everybody who wants to convert the money and pay taxes to be compliant with it, rather than straight away thinking about it. Start thinking about it from day one. Make money. If you have to pay taxes, think about it then. If you don't have money, you somehow don't have to pay taxes at all. So yeah, that's my view on it.
Yeah. Amazing, Amit. You have put everything superbly well. And with this, we will end the panel discussion. I think this was a very interesting and fantastic discussion we had. And I'm sure audience must have enjoyed and learned from this. This is such an interesting topic that you can imagine within the panel also, there are different passions. And that's because people are passionate about this. There's so much to learn. And there's one thing which we all agree is that next 10 years, the blockchain, the DeFi, the crypto is all going to change the way we live our life. And earlier we'll learn about it. I think that will be better. And one key takeaway is that regulations are important, because that will give more confidence to everyone. That will protect everyone from the scam. and will definitely help us better. And the kind of work which is happening in the blockchain, is phenomenal. So let's hope, that this is all going to play out well, and we all are going to make a lot of money. And to everyone in the audience, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And to the panel members, Naresh, Alvin, and Amit, thank you so much. Wishing you all the very best in your businesses, projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukesh.
Thank you
Thank
to all
you.
the speakers. Special thanks to Mr. Mukesh Jindal to chair the session and Mr. Alvin Agni to join us on a short notice. It was a very insightful session. And once again, thank you.
Now we would like to invite Kanish Pratap Singh, Secretary of the Convention Committee, to give the thank you note.
Now we are at the conclusion of our event. Being the secretary of the convention committee, initially I took this event as a challenge, but over time I realized who have played the significant role in successfully completing this chapter of our annual convention. Firstly, I would like to thank all the speakers, the moderators, the chief guest, the guest of honor, who have taken out time from the busy schedule to share knowledge, experience, and ideas with us. In ways that you might not know, you have inspired us. I would like to thank the faculty of DFS, especially Sanjay Sehgal sir and Varun sir, who not only guided us in this whole journey, but provided us with this opportunity in the first place to learn real life management. I would like to thank our alumni, who are always there ready to help. I would like to thank the wonderful audience that we have here and the student body AFCON. And lastly, I would like to thank the CCPR and the convention team who have been working on this event for the past couple of weeks. Thank you, everyone.
With this, we come to the end of our convention. Thank you to all the participants for attending this convention.
Just a second. Yeah.
Yeah,
So thank
yeah,
you very
no problem.
much. Thank you very much, all of you, all the speakers and all the students and who have made this successful. So I congratulate all of you for making this event a very good success. And thanks to Sanjay sir again for being the for guiding us through. And thanks to you, Munish sir, for being with us again in this convention. And again, last but not the least, obviously, thanks again to all the students, especially Kanishk and team, who have been able to execute this very, in a very, very swift manner. Thank you all and see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Varun.
Yes, sir. Thank you to you, sir. Always.
It was a real
you are always
pleasure.
there. Always
it was
you are
very
there
well
with us.
organized. It was very well organized.
So without you, it would have been difficult. So thank you again for being in the event. And hope to see you next convention. Hopefully it will be offline.
Yes, yes.
And to the students also, hopefully it will be offline again next year. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.